What's up, everybody? Unrested here today. I am attempting to record a JFAQ while this man in the park sweeps behind me. It's nice when people help out with taking care of parks, but I'm unsure why he feels he needs to sweep right next to me the whole time. He didn't start to do this until I started the video. It's a little bit odd. I don't know if he wants internet fame. Should I give him a shout out on YouTube? I'm not sure. Anyway, that being said, we're jumping right into our topic today, and that topic is learning Japanese. Recently, I've started my Japanese series of videos this year. My New Year's resolution was to start taking Japanese lessons. Yes, I've stuck to it. I've been taking them every week, as up to this week so far. I've paid for them quite far in advance, so I better continue to take them. That being said, I've been starting to get my inbox filled with how to learn Japanese questions, which, first of all, I want to just stop and say, guys, those of you who don't fully understand what I'm saying in those videos, my Japanese is bad. It's garbled. My grammar's poor. I'm doing those videos because I need to practice. Probably most Japanese people are understanding what I'm saying in those videos, but my pronunciation is poor, my grammar's poor, I'm dropping particles out of the sentences. And the only way you really learn to stop doing that is by speaking the language. And I'd say, number one, that is the best way to learn Japanese. Now, if I was really to go into a full series of how to learn Japanese, this would take up multiple videos, and to be honest, I don't think it's my place. I think you should learn Japanese from people like Gimme a Break Man or Hiko Simon, who actually speak perfect and fluent Japanese. That makes a lot more sense than mine. Learning it from somebody who doesn't speak it perfectly himself seems a bit counteractive, don't you think? So hence I've never actually started any kind of series on teaching Japanese. I myself am still learning. As you can see, I am not the ages of Gimme a Break Man or Gimme a Flake Man or Hiko Simon, and hence their skills are far better than mine. They've studied far longer than I have, and they've used it in more situations than I have. They've got a much broader vocabulary and much more perfect at speaking than I am. But that doesn't mean I should just give up and throw down the books. Hence I've started lessons and made this New Year's resolution to continue to do my Japanese-only videos in my Nihongo no video series. That being said, what can you do to learn it? Well, first of all, let me just say that there's no silver bullet. Everybody always asks me for that silver bullet. I heard that somebody bought Rosetta Stone and learned to speak Japanese fluently in 1 month. If you heard that from somebody, then they lied straight to your face. No one learns any language in the world in 1 month. That is impossible, and even more so for Japanese. If your native language is English and you think you're going to somehow fit Japanese into your head in 1 month, that's, you know, Matrix type stuff there. You don't have a chip in the back of your head that lets you do that. Building a language is difficult. Now, I will say those of you who are from Europe who watch my videos tend to know how to do this much better because you are born and raised having to know multiple languages. So you've already learned how to learn a language. As an American, we don't tend to have the skill. We usually come with one language, that's it. Batteries not included. And we've got that one language stuck in our head and have never even really attempted, or if we have, it's been through poor schooling attempts to learn a second language. And so we've never actually learned the skills to learn a language. And that was something I needed to learn first. I needed to learn, how do I build this language up in my head? And even more so with Japanese, because there is not direct translations. There's often times, for example, if you say, have you ever been to Disney World? So you'd say like, Disney itta koto ga aru? Do you have the experience of having ever been to Disney World? That's how that would literally translate. Kita koto is like, or ita koto is having gone experience. And that doesn't really necessarily directly translate. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. They'll sometimes ask me metaphors or similes and say, how do you translate this into Japanese? And I'll say, Japanese doesn't have that metaphor, it doesn't have that simile, or it just doesn't work in this language. I don't know how to express that to you. Some jokes don't work in this language either. That's why you see sometimes an American tells a joke and it falls flat, and the only way you can escape is be like, America no jodan. It's an American joke, just laugh at it. And nervously, Japanese people do. It's difficult. It's not something that you just convert from one to the other. It's not some sort of binary code. Japanese is got its own structure. It doesn't have an English structure. And I think that's one thing that many English speakers don't even understand when they jump into the language, is they just think, well, what I'll do is I'll just convert all the English words I say into Japanese, line them up all the same ways, and you know, maybe just flip a couple things around, like I'll put the object in the front or the verb in the back, and that'll work out fine. But it doesn't always work like that. There's many other situations, and that's why a language is not something you can learn in just 1 month. Now, I'm not saying I think most of my viewers think they can learn a language in 1 month. I actually give my viewers quite a bit of credit for being quite intelligent, quite well researched, and looking up quite a bit. But every once in a while, I do get that email that's like, my friend used my Japanese coach on his Nintendo DS and learned Japanese in 1 month. Is this true? No, it's not true. That doesn't even have like a kanji program, so I don't know how he did that. Now, I'm not slamming any of those teaching utilities. Please, get your foot in the water with those. Dip your little toe into the water with some of those easy programs. Rosetta Stone's a great starting point. My Japanese coach for the Nintendo DS is a great starting point, but please realize those are just the very tip of the iceberg. You are just barely learning the language. You are barely understanding Japanese. You're merely grasping onto a few words, and maybe even some of those words aren't commonly used. So do realize if you want to actually speak, which I feel is the most important part, if writing's your thing, then I'd say that's a totally different path of study. Speaking involves actually speaking. My best advice would be to go on japanguide.com, I think, or is it .org, one or the other, and find yourself a Japanese friend that you can have Skype meetings with and talk in Japanese. Force yourself to speak Japanese. Maybe you just speak it to your pet at your house. Maybe you walk around the house and put post-it notes all over different objects in your house that show what it is in Japanese. Even if you're using Romaji, that's okay. You're learning. I think that's the biggest part, is learning. Now, some people diss things like anime and manga and say you can't learn from those. Those have crazy language. No one shouts about shooting fireballs out of their hands and stuff like that. Any aspect of Japanese that you're studying is helping you learn. If you're associating pictures from a manga where you can't even read the kanji, but it has the hiragana above the kanji that you can read, you're at least associating those words with pictures. You're starting to get some sort of grasp. It's slowly, ever so slowly, building that language in your head. Even when you think you aren't learning anything, you are. You'll have these weird periods where you'll study a bunch of Japanese and you'll think, damn, nothing's improved. You'll take maybe 3 months off from studying, or maybe give yourself a little bit of a break, and somehow your brain's finally processed, it's digested all that, and you can speak a hell of a lot better. It's so weird. So don't give up hope when you're studying. I think that's one of the best pieces of advice I can give you, is never give up, never stop on it. Number 2, try to get yourself a Japanese speaking partner that you can talk back and forth with. Try to do a language exchange if you can. Offer them an hour of English for an hour of Japanese. That's a fair trade. And then far and foremost, number 3 would just be, don't get perturbed by any starting point for your language learning. Don't believe any of the hype that you can learn it in 1 month, but at the same time, don't be afraid to think that, oh, well, this isn't strong enough Japanese for me. This is, too easy Japanese. Even the book that I slam, I think it's one of the worst, called Japanese for Dummies. It's got obsolete Japanese that nobody speaks anymore. At least you're touching the language. At least you're getting some of the pronunciations, the different types of the hiragana chart in your mind. At least get started. That's all I ask. Until next time, I'm Unrested. This is JFAQ. I suppose I could do a lot of JFAQs on this in the series, so perhaps I will with language. Tell me what you want to hear about learning Japanese language for future JFAQs. If you like what you saw here today, like, comment, and subscribe. I am Unrested.